Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Founders Forum. Today we have with us a wonderful set of panelists who are founders of D2C brands, plus a supply chain provider with us, and also we have a couple of business heads, and they're all going to share certain strategies about their omni-channel retail. And before we get into the discussion mode, I'll just give 60 seconds to each one of you to just talk about your brand before we get into the discussion mode.
Oh, you want, okay.
Hello everyone, I'm Shivani, co-founder of BeYoung. So you guys have must heard about BeYoung. Like our brand is all about tier 2, 3, 4 cities, the mass market which relies in the real Bharat, right? So we started it from Udaipur, Rajasthan. काफ़ी छोटी सिटी है इन राजस्थान, तो हमारा मेन पर्पस है कि हम जो मास मार्केट हैं उन लोगों के लिए एस्पिरेशनल और अफोर्डेबल प्रोडक्ट्स बनाएं, उन लोगों को जिनको नॉन ब्रांडेड से ब्रांडेड की तरफ शिफ्ट होना है, जिन्हें पसंद है एवरीडे में अच्छा दिखना, बट वो अपनी रोज़मर्रा की लाइफ में ईएमआई और सारी जगह पे करते हुए अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाते, राइट? एट द एंड ऑफ द मंथ कहें तो उनके पास इतना सेविंग नहीं बचता कि जिससे वो हाई वैल्यू वाले प्रोडक्ट्स खरीद पाएँ. तो उनके लिए हम वैल्यू फॉर मनी प्रोडक्ट्स लॉन्च करते हैं जो एस्पिरेशनल भी हो और अफोर्डेबल भी. तो दिस इज़ व्हाट BeYoung स्टैंड फॉर, कि इन डिस्पाइट ऑफ के एवरी ब्रांड इज़ फोकस्ड ऑन India, we are focused on the real Bharat, tier 2, 3, 4 cities. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amit Mohta. I'm from a company called Elemental Fixtures Private Limited. We are the people who help people build the stores. So today we are one of the leading manufacturers in India. We started about 2013 and we are a 10-year-old company. So pretty much in every mall, I'm sure all of you have gone to one of the stores made by us. Just to give you an example, Hamley's Toy Store. How many of you guys have gone to Hamley's Toy Store, right? So the worldwide manufacturer for Hamley's Toy Stores are us. So we have opened stores right from Milan to Scotland to 128 stores in India. So we are here to help all online players who want to go into offline spaces, to help them build a store in the most economical, fastest way possible. Thank you.
Thanks, Amit. I am Varun Sharma, a little departure from the last two. So we are a set of extremely proud pet parents who have been importing, representing and selling about 10 global pet brands in India. We sell some of the best possible available brands and products anywhere in the world, and we bring to the pet parents here in India. We supply to almost 1,000 retailers across the length and the breadth of the country. We have very recently started a little bit of exports to South America, and happy to chat with the rest of the pet parents here after the session.
Hi, my name is Siddhartha. I am a co-founder at XYXX Apparels. So we started off as an innerwear brand trying to disrupt the men's innerwear space. And eventually what we are now is like a pure-fledged men's apparel brand focusing on innerwear, loungewear and athleisure. We sell across a spectrum of, so we sell online, online via our own website, via e-commerce marketplaces. We also have our own physical stores in certain locations. We also distribute our products via the distributors and retailers. We also sell via quick commerce. So I think I'll be throwing some insights around those areas as we go around the panel. Thank you.
Hi, so I'm from Bold Care. You must have seen the Ranveer Singh ad. If you haven't, see it now. So we make men's sexual wellness as well as health products across categories in, premature ejaculation, ED, erectile dysfunction, condoms, topicals, lubricants. We are currently available on our own website, as well as we sell on e-com, Flipkart, Amazon, as well as a lot of quick commerce channels. And we've just started foraying into, offline. So we are available in pharmacies, some modern trade stores. So very early insights or I would say mistakes, learnings we have from our early initiatives. So yeah, that's about Bold Care. Thank you.
Hello everyone. I'm Mayur Solanki, founder of Dragon Hill. Dragon is a men's casual wear brand, and we've just started about 3 years back. And in men's casual wear, we make practically every category, like shirts, trousers, denims, khakis, sweatshirts, jackets, and everything. And currently distributed in more than 350 MBOs across the country, apart from availability on all the online platforms. And as we grow further, we are highly focused on physical retail. And we have just started that activity about 4 months back by opening 7 stores, standalone stores of Dragon Hill. And as we grow further, our focus on that channel remains very intensive. And here to interact with all of you to gain more insights and inputs on the brand.
So Siddharth, I'm going to start with you. I mean, we all know XYXX was a challenger brand and to traditional old age brands like Jockey and all, and it started as an internet first brand. So when you thought about moving into the offline space, was it more about, okay, just looking at the omni-channel strategy, or how much differentiation does it make for a digital first brand to get into the offline space?
So I think I'll start off with how the innerwear landscape in India has evolved, right? Innerwear is something that is typically purchased, whether it's a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 market, in a small MBO or a multi-brand outlet. And these are typically your hosiery stores, which are spread across the country. So you might have read reports where Jockey sells in 1 lakh retailers. You'll have mass brands like Lux, Rupa, etc., who sell at about 1.5 lakh retailers, right? So when Yogesh, my other founder, was starting off, he was quite clear that I want to be present where the consumer for this product is, right? And I am disrupting this for the consumer, right? Channel is just a choice based on how much money is available, how much funding is available, right? Where can you get the easier early adoption, and from where you can get to understand whether your product is right, etc. So we started off digitally, right? First kind of started off on marketplaces because that's the lowest cost channel to kind of get early feedback about your product. So the feedback was quite positive because our claim to fame was a micromodal underwear at that point of time, which we were not sure whether the Indian men really wanted. It was a beautiful solution, but you never know like whether the PMF exists or not. So we tested by marketplaces, and fast forward 2 years is when we realized that, okay, we have got decent traction digitally. Now let's expand into offline as well. But innerwear is something that's not typically shot from an EBO per se, except it's Calvin Klein per se, right? Jockey also opened their EBOs after first traversing the MBO journey over a period of time. So we realized that we don't have enough basket of products to set up our own stores, right? And also distribution is one way through which we can reach the right target audience via the distributors who are already strong in that market. So we started off with one city, we set up our own, we partnered with certain distributors in Gujarat, we then expanded to Maharashtra. And from there on, as we were expanding, COVID hit, right? So 2020, our revenue went from whatever to zero, and this is true for most brands over here, whoever was live before COVID, right? Post-COVID is when digital got a very big push, right? And I think everyone would have attended panels over the last 3 or 4 years where people have talked about how COVID disrupted digital, right? However, exactly 1 to 2 years down the line, people realized that consumers wanted to go physical as well, right? And the the pace of growth was slowing down, right? And I think in our case, since we were very clear that we wanted to be where the consumer is, we continued the focus on our distribution as well, in spite of the fact that digital was giving very good tailwinds to the category. So fast forward, currently we retail at around 18,000 stores across the country. And we also experimented with 5 stores, which I can talk subsequently about. We are number 2 brand in innerwear across Flipkart and Amazon, right? I think Amazon also invested in us in the last round. So I think the country needed a disruptor. Channel is just a choice of how do you want to first test your product market fit, followed by where you are seeing traction. It's also a choice of the funding that you have available, because offline is difficult. Offline takes a lot of effort to build relationship with the distributor and the retailer. They have seen brands over the last 15 odd years who have come and gone, etc. So they are not going to trust you just because you are there in this short span of time for 3 years. So the founders themselves have to get involved. They are not ready to just listen to the sales team in the front end. They want to understand कि ये brand क्या है, कौन है, अगले 10 साल तक टिकेगा नहीं टिकेगा. Because once they have created space for you in their stores, right? Losing that consumer and losing that space is a very big deal for them. So how can you build that trust for them in offline is quite critical. And it's not like a doubling, tripling journey year on year, right? Once you have got it right, obviously, you can do that and it can scale much faster than digital. However, it takes time. Digital is something that you can, depending upon how much you are willing to burn or whatever, you can expand fast or you can go slow. And I think that's my 2 cents around the omni-channel bit. Anyone else?
So, Varun, I'm going to come to you now, because your products are spread across channels. So, how do you ensure that in this omni-channel play, the product experience remains the same all across?
Yeah, so I think omni-channel is a daily lived experience. Like it's a daily conversation within the team and to our retailers, to our veterinary doctors, to our breeders, to trainers, to our small mom and pop shops, to now the big chains, to Amazon. So this is something that we do on a daily basis. I think if we take a step back and the way that the things have changed in the last 4 to 5 years, from the standpoint of the customer, especially for a high involvement products that we sell, and pet parents are usually very, very involved in the products that they purchase from their pets. A pet parent will go online and check your reputation, your product, your brand. He will also go to his neighborhood friendly pet store. He would also call up his vet and say कि ये मैं नया brand try करना चाह रहा हूँ कैसा है. He might also put up in his WhatsApp group of pet parents in individual communities. So a single customer is actually having to access all these touch points. What that kind of tells us is, as long as you are very clear of what the brand stands for, right? Your brand communication needs to be clear. The expressions or the places where you are expressing then brands can be online, offline, veterinary doctor, to fellow pet parents. But the brand needs to be very clear in what it is speaking. I'll give you an example, right? We created this brand called Fabled Pet Food, and this exact same brand, all we did was we translated the exact same things into Spanish, and right now we are in South America. Because it doesn't really depend upon where we are speaking or which channel are we speaking to. As long as our message is clear, I think that kind of solves 90% of the things. There are obviously additional complexities of what product spread do you have for which channel, quick commerce, smaller bags, fast-selling SKUs, larger bags, veterinary channel, there is another strategy. But I think at the core, you need to be very clear of what exactly your brand is about, and I think that kind of sorts the whole thing out very, very easily.
Sure. Amit, coming to you, you have helped various physical stores. So any insights you can draw which could be helpful to our audience?
We started about 10 years back, and the last 10 years we have built more than 7,000 stores across India and around the globe. What we understand that when brands try to come from any channel, they would like all their stores to have the same look and feel, same experience which the customer has to have. And in a way, we were a disruptor in this space, because when you talk about retail store furniture, I think half of the people did not know what it is. So we came, we tried to organize the space and help the brands, whether they were established international brands or all of you guys have heard of Snitch. They opened their first store. We are partners with them. So we help them establish right from design concept, how to get all that put together, give the same experience to the customer across all the stores. So we manufacture out of Bangalore and we supply everywhere. So there was a very big need in this space for a single supplier giving the same experience across the board. So that really helped, and I'm sure all of these guys will also have the same requirement in terms of giving the customer same touch and feel across all the touch points.
Sure. Shivani, coming to you, you operate in a very dynamic category, which is fashion, and that again, like you said, I mean, you're serving the tier 2, tier 3 towns. So what was the journey like in terms of the brand building activation which you have done over the years?
So when we started, like we launched online first, right? We were digital first. So by the time we want to penetrate ourselves in tier 2, 3, 4, because tier 2, 3, 4 में there was no digitally activated brand already that moment. तो हम लोगों ने tier 2, 3, 4 पे digital focus किया. उसके बाद before COVID we launched our few stores and the response was really good. We started with Udaipur, Jodhpur and another like tier 3 cities in Rajasthan, and we were planning to go in another states also, but then COVID hit. तो कोविड के बाद क्योंकि वी वर बूटस्ट्रैप्ड एंड लाइक इट वाज नॉट मैनेजेबल कि ऑनलाइन भी हम कर सके और ऑफलाइन भी, और ऑनलाइन जैसे जितने भी सारी जो D2C ब्रांड जो इमर्ज हुई है, आई थिंक कोविड वाज द मेन रीज़न बिहाइंड इट, क्योंकि कोविड वाज द मेन पार्ट कि जब सारे D2C बूम पर आए थे, राइट? तो हमारी डिमांड ऑनलाइन काफ़ी बढ़ गई थी. तो उसकी वजह से वी वर मेनली फोकस्ड ऑन फॉर लाइक 2 or 3 years ऑन ऑनलाइन आर D2C प्लेटफॉर्म, और लाइक till last year we have achieved around 200 crore GMV, और वो भी हमने हमारी ऑनलाइन ब्रांड खुद की सेल्फ ब्रांड से किया है. वी वर नॉट ऑन एनी मार्केट प्लेस, we were not on like offline platforms, EBOs, MBOs and all. And now for going onwards, we are planning to go for MBOs, EBOs and marketplaces also. So this is how the journey has been like, ke, to understand the customers, कि आपके कस्टमर कहाँ हैं, राइट? टीयर 2, 3, 4 में बात करूँ तो नॉट जस्ट के छोटी सिटीज़, टीयर 1 में भी हमारे कस्टमर्स हैं जो टीयर 2, 3, 4 से आते हैं, ठीक है, फॉर देयर लाइवलीहुड्स. वो वहाँ पे आके जॉब करते हैं, उनके डे टू डे लाइफ में दे लाइक दे सेव दे स्पेंड, और जो मैंने EMI वाली बात बताई थी कि उनकी पूरा एवरीडे लाइफ में इट गोज़ लाइक दैट. तो जो टीयर 1 में जो लोग हैं जिनको वैल्यू फॉर मनी प्रोडक्ट चाहिए, ठीक है, उनके लिए वी आर देयर फॉर, जो पैसे सेव कर सकते हैं और उसके साथ ही अच्छा दिख सकते हैं इन देयर एवरीडे लाइफ्स. और हमने इस पूरी जर्नी में अपने कस्टमर्स को अंडरस्टैंड किया, और उसी के साथ हमने कस्टमर्स के लिए कुछ फीचर्स जैसे कन्वीनियंस लॉन्च किया. तो कन्वीनियंस में हमने कॉम्बोज, कस्टमाइजेबल कॉम्बोज भी लॉन्च किए. तो इफ़ यू सी आवर वेबसाइट, तो हमने कॉम्बोज में प्रोडक्ट्स ऐसे लॉन्च किए कि जिसमें आप अलग अलग कलर्स में, सपोज़ कि आई एम गोइंग टू बाई समवेयर, कि मुझे मेरे फ्रेंड, पापा, ठीक है, सिस्टर या किसी के लिए भी परचेज़ करना है, तो व्हाट आई कैन डू, आई कैन गो फॉर डिफरेंट साइजेज. मुझे एक्सेल लेना है, स्मॉल लेना है, XXL लेना है, एंड एट द सेम टाइम आई कैन चूज़ डिफरेंट कलर्स. तो ये जो कस्टमाइजेशन हमने दिया वो हमारे ऑडियंस को अंडरस्टैंड करके दिया. तो दिस इज़ ऑल लाइक होल आवर जर्नी हैज़ बिन लाइक कि हम हमारे कस्टमर के अकॉर्डिंग चैनल्स चूज़ करते हैं, ठीक है, एंड बाय द टाइम सही लाइक सही समय पर सही प्लेटफॉर्म पे वी एस्टेब्लिश आवरसेल्फ और इनोवेशन करते हैं. So this is the journey has been like. Thank you.
Interesting.
Something,
please.
right? So a lot of D2C brands also observe what the other D2C brands are doing, right?
Yeah.
So what Shivani was saying right now, I think your brand was one of the inspirations behind us creating a bundle on our own website. क्योंकि online बेचने के लिए you need a significant AOV, and if you don't have that AOV, तब तक आपका मतलब you will keep making losses. So अब एक इनरवेयर हम बेचना नहीं चाहते, हमको 5 इनरवेयर बेचनी है. So we looked at what other brands are doing to increase the AOV, and I think we came across multiple examples. One of them was yours, and I think that was an inspiration for us कि हाँ, we can do something like that, and that can take the needle forward. So एक चीज़ होती है कि the entire ecosystem in a way helps you to figure out how to navigate this journey. That's what I wanted to.
So, Parinita, coming to you, I mean, you operate in a space wherein, of course, a lot of education is also required for the audience to pick up. And digitally, you can easily do that. So, and like you likely said, most of the business is coming, like 95%, if I'm right, from the online space. So, when you're expanding offline, so what are the challenges you're having when it's just something which you're selling over the counter through pharmacy? So, any challenges you would like to highlight?
So with D2C, we started in 2020 online, completely online. So it was very easy to kind of gauge responses. So at least we have an internal thing that the first thing we do is active listening across all our channels that we're listening to. Calls, inbounds, outbounds, all of that. So we got a lot of insights to build products, etc. But now that we've just entered offline, and it's a different monster in itself, we'd actually like to understand from all of you guys how you all are able to actively listen to not just your retailers, wholesalers, but your customers directly. That's very crucial for us because in our products of EDP, there's a lot of education we need to do. So the brand marketing piece becomes pretty large for us, and doing it at 5,000 pharmacies, 10,000 pharmacies, it's at scale. So we'd actually like to actively listen in the offline space also, get more insights on anything as small as for example, we sell something at 20 grams and 50 grams. Is it going to sell at 100 gram offline? These are those small insights, price parity, lot of those kind of challenges we are currently solving for. So yeah.
Interesting. Mayur, coming to you, I mean, what has been your strategies for the omni-channel foray?
See, we started off, unlike most of them here, as a purely offline brand. And it was primarily because we have more than 20 years of experience behind us of distributing most of the top national, international apparel brands in the country. And we already had access to about 400, 500 MBOs that we were serving to. Unfortunately, when we launched, within 3 months, COVID hit. We were already spread across about 150 odd stores. And of course, during COVID, post-COVID, as everybody focused more on online and digital, we also started that journey. And we've done pretty well. I'm not saying we are still offline dominated brand, but as we move forward, we're going to focus on D2C, but the combination of physical retail stores of Dragon Hill along with online. The biggest challenge that I see is not the channel. I mean, I can do physical retail across. We've just opened 5 stores in Telangana in last 4 months, and it's been a great experience, in terms of learnings. The biggest challenge that we face is that the consumer requirement in India is so different at various places. In terms of designs and fits, what West requires is pretty different from what Andhra and Telangana requires, is very different from what Chandigarh requires to, it's very different from what Calcutta requires, So, I mean, when you are in the process of making a brand, there's a clear-cut strategy that what will the brand stand for, what will be the product mix, and what kind of product will be consistently delivered to customer, so that beyond 2 years, 3 years, when a consumer thinks of Dragon Hill, he thinks of this kind of product. So, but like Telangana needs skinny ankle-length denims, which as a brand we don't make. The West needs a proper slim fit denim. The West is more into solids and, slim fitted shirts. The South is still into checks. So to manage the product portfolio so that every consumer is delivered what he requires at that particular point of time is the biggest channel. And with so much of technology available, I don't think omni-channel for us is going to be a difficult job, since we have such strong distribution We are experts in retail. We can open stores. We have connection with all the top franchises of the country. But what I see is consistency of product delivery to the different consumer of the country. And that's what we are very working very hard on, to design that kind of product for each region and consistently maintain the supply chain logistics is, I think, the big challenge.
So, a common question to all of you, is the retail strategy further decided by the consumer insights, or is it the other way around for all of you? Varun, you want to?
I think for me, I cannot talk to my consumer. I can talk to pet parents, but not really. I wish I could. But yeah. Having said that, I think we genuinely, and I really like the word that you use, that we actively listen. I think pet parents love to speak. They love to speak. And I think we do listen. We listen to their pain points. We listen to, for example, a couple of years ago, we launched poop bags. Poop bags is not something that a lot of pet parents in India traditionally use. Having said that, with the fact that COVID was there and everybody was kind of taking dogs out for walks only in their society, kind of meant that you had to use a poop bag. So it is very, very important that you listen to pet parents and then you kind of try and understand what are the pain points that you as a brand can solve. And there are 10, perhaps you can do 3 or you can do 4 where you are coming from. But I think, listening to customers is super, super important. There is also an element of perhaps where the customer also needs to be educated to be asking the right questions. So one is listening to the customer and then making sure that if he is, for example, worried about nutrition for his dog or for his cat, then there is an element of education where you say, you know what, are these the questions? Are these the right questions that you are answering? And that again sparks a conversation in which both of you are richer in terms of knowledge. I understand what the customer wants or what the customer's needs were. And the customer understands perhaps that, oh, perhaps this is a factor that I did not really consider when I was considering some products. I think things which are a little easier for us rather than the apparel people who are sitting there is that a pet parent in Bangalore has very similar concerns as pet parent in Kolkata and a pet parent in Bogota. The language might be different, how they express it might be different, but concerns are largely the same. So it becomes a fairly easy task for us to kind of use those insights across the length and the breadth of the world for that matter.
Yeah. Okay. So, along with listening to customers like directly via forms and everything, one thing matters the most in this segment is like the data, right? Okay, where you are actually targeting the market, right? I'm talking about my market, right? But if I'm penetrating minimal fashion, तो मेरी कहाँ से आ रही है? साउथ इंडिया से ज़्यादा आ रही है, वेस्ट से या बॉम्बे से आ रही है या नॉर्थ से आ रही है, राइट? तो आई थिंक ऑनलाइन को ऑफलाइन जाने में मेजर फैक्टर इज़ डेटा. उस डेटा को अंडरस्टैंड करके ही ब्रांड्स डिसाइड कि मुझे किस जगह पे अपना स्टोर लॉन्च करना है, कहाँ नहीं करना है और कहाँ मुझे और आगे जाके ब्रांड को एक्टिवेट करना है. तो आई थिंक द डेटा इज़ द मेजर पार्ट इन कि अगर कोई ब्रांड ऑनलाइन से ऑफलाइन जा रही है, इफ़ समवन इज़ गोइंग ऑफलाइन टू ऑनलाइन, राइट, इट्स वाइस वर्सा, क्योंकि वो पहले खुद का ऑफलाइन में एक्सपांशन देखते हैं, हाउ द थिंग्स आर गोइंग, ठीक है, 2 स्टोर खोलते, 3 स्टोर खोलते, उसमें उनका पूरा एक्सपीरियंस दे एनालाइज, ठीक है, उसके बाद मीनवाइल दे आर टॉकिंग टू देयर कस्टमर, फिर वो दूसरी ब्रांड से इंस्पायर होकर आई थिंक दे गो ऑनलाइन. तो आई थिंक ऑनलाइन से ऑफलाइन जाना है, ऑफलाइन से ऑनलाइन जाना इज 2 डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ स्टोरीज एंड ऑल लाइक डेटा ड्रिवन.
Yeah, so actually both online and offline data is available, right, for you to act upon, do your own analysis. Digital में सिर्फ data easily मिल जाता है. उसके बाद lot of work goes into analyzing it, क्या करना है, what pack sizes, what states to sell, what pricing to put it at, etc. Offline में the biggest challenge is collecting data. right? अब उसमें you can't sit in a room and collect data, right? You'll have to physically, as founders, as heads, go into the market, right? Stand in a retail shop and see how the consumer is behaving in that environment, right? Unless you do that, you will never be able to figure out offline. And I think a lot of brands just start offline either by due to some pressure by the investors, or if they are able, or if they are plateauing at some growth after a point of time. But first, if you really want to go offline, my suggestion is go to the retail outlet where you would want to sell and try to understand whether there is actually a need for your product in that retailer or not, or how will you differentiate your product in that audience. What is that the retailer wants? What is that the consumer wants, right? And accordingly, you can align your offline strategy if you want to go the distribution route. If you want to go the EBO route, I think what Shivani talked about is very important. Figure out where your consumer is sitting. And your own website, marketplaces will give you enough information about that. I think, yeah, that's what I wanted to add.
Thanks, Siddharth. Whenever you decide to go offline, call us. We'll help you in that. See, from our customers are all these people sitting here. So when we interact with them and when we talk about any brand that wants to come, the knowledge we get across all the other stores we have built, we help the brand to understand that if you are in the fashion space, this is what globally is happening. Selling online is a very different ballgame and selling offline is absolutely different. So I'm sure all these online superstars know exactly how to sell. But when it comes to offline spaces, we play a critical role in terms of to help them how to position the brand because of 10 years of experience opening 7,000 stores. So that is where we listen to our customers and tell them how customers react in our customer stores. So that gives them a very good insight in terms of how they should position, build their store environments.
So for us, obviously speaking to customers is very critical. That really helps us. But we very, again, actively speak to quick commerce and e-com players on, again, what kind of combos are going to work, what is the trend they are seeing. Unfortunately or fortunately, we fit in a space where awareness becomes like 80-90% of our problem statement. People don't know what ED is. People don't know what PE is. So people looking in a store for this product is usually unlikely. Hence the whole, the larger than life Ranveer Singh route is what we decided to take. So these are the challenges we face. Now that we kind of start expanding, we obviously want to extrapolate on the awareness piece and speak more about ED and P in a way that it's very seamlessly merged into the society and actually not tabooed at all. And hopefully, like best case scenario in the next 4 or 5 years, it should be actively spoken about and thought through. So channels are just mediums. We eventually want to solve for the sexual space for men, and we're hopefully in that space now that we're being, competing with very large players in this country. So it's going to be an uphill battle. So yeah.
So, Mayur?
See, I completely agree that online, it's so very simple to get the data. And as Shivani rightly said, the data analytics is the most critical factor for your retail strategy, whether it's a product development or store opening or whatever. Offline, my 2 decades of experience clearly tell me that retailer is the boss. You cannot talk to the consumers there. You don't have access to customers there. The relationship that you build with the retailer is the most important thing for the success of your brand as far as offline is concerned. We have tried so hard to convince the retailers to have a pure system where every day my brand sale reports can come to me so that I can say, boss, mera dukaan hai, I know what to buy and I know what to sell to my customer. They still don't realize that at the end of the day, customer is the king because he's paying the money. He pays money, you retain your share, you give balance to me. So I think whoever's trying to build offline business, from online, you must focus very hard on relationship building with the top retailers who can, and they've been doing this business for years and years. They know their consumers at the back of their hand. And what information they give you is perfect. But you won't be able to get that sort of a data on your desk, which you can yourself analyze and take a call. You have to depend on their suggestions, their feedback. Things have become a little more easier with shop in shop concept being very strong in the big MBOs, where you have your own space, own fixtures, and your own promoter, brand promoter. So you can get delicious, but it's still a very small portion of the overall distribution business that exists in India. It's huge. I mean, the kind of offline retail business that's happening is still very big. So offline, this is the strategy, that build a strong relation with the retailer who can give you all sorts of inputs and feedback for you to take a call.
So, thank you. I think with such great insights, I'm sure there must be a lot of questions in the mind of our audience, and I request you all to raise your hand in case you have any questions. Can we pass on the mic to the lady in the front?
Hi, Hi everyone. Very nice panel. Thank you for sharing the insights. I think as I speak for a couple of founders here in the audience, I hope, who are just starting to build. I think I would also like to take you back to that stage when you were just starting perhaps a new category, so many of you. At that time, especially in today, there are a lot of competitors in every space. So how is it that you can get real meaningful insights through your customers? What are some of the channels you'd recommend, or some interesting ways that you can really draw how you can be different from your competitors?
Hi. So actually a very interesting method, at least I was mentioning, is the inbound and outbound. Actively listen to your calls, read your DMs, the comments. You'll start getting something out of there. There's one instance we got. In condom category, usually what happens is after use, the disposing it off is a problem statement. We got a lot of calls from customers कि इसे फेंकते कैसे है, इसका करूँ क्या? Very basic conversation. And then we really thought about it, like that's actually genuinely a problem. And a lot of legacy brands or a lot of brands were not able to solve it. We now sell our condoms with disposable bags. That's one insight we heard from, let's say, 10, 15 customers. And because of our speed of execution at D2C level, we were able to, go to market very quickly on that. That I think has actually helped us reach the stage where we are, because our product is pretty unique, that we are able to give this extra offering with it.
I'll just add on, I think for my category, right, when we started off, I think the ideal way is if you are your own customer, right? That is, so when you are starting off, unfortunately, even the best, even if you buy data, right, in India, there are a lot of the actionable insights are missing. So I still joke with my team that even if we hire a designer, or if we hire somebody from finance, if he or she is a pet parent, usually that works better. Usually, a guy who is doing a delivery for that matter, if he is taking care of dogs in his neighborhood, he will be a much better employee because he will understand the products. He will come back to you and say, "Ki, sir, ye 4 cheezein mujhe lagta hai ki hame karni chahiye," and his insights are right. So that is the best possible way. I'm sure that cannot be done for all categories. For our category, that is what we did.
Hi Varun, I'm Yash from Doodly Pets. We are building around pet healthcare. So my question to you all is, do you think the vet network is the best way to communicate your brand message to the pet parent?
and the most difficult to break into and sustain. So yesterday I was meeting somebody and I said, you know what, it is very difficult to sell to 100 vets, but very easy to sell to 1,000 of them, which basically means that selling to veterinary doctors and any specialty channel for that matter, it becomes easier as you grow. Having said that, when you are starting off, there are a lot of, again, I think we'll have an offline conversation also about this, and I'll be able to speak a little more frankly. But there are a lot of moats around the veterinary kind of network, which might not be very easy to breach when you are starting off. Okay. Once you are a typical scale, then the conversations are different. You are able to perhaps hire from pharmaceutical, from people who already have relationships with the doctors. But initially, it might be a little difficult, though. For sure, veterinary doctors as a community are source of real actionable influence on the pet parents, and we really value their input. But again, starting with, I think your question was when you are starting off, that might be a little difficult. It might take a while to crack it though.
Hi, my name is Sanchit. I would want to ask Siddhartha a question that how do you maintain the price parity across both the online and the offline world?
This will be the last question.
It's a fantastic question. I think every D2C brand struggles for this. So what we do is, and I think early on we made the mistake of not having this across our distribution points. And over a period of time, we got a lot of pushback from the retailers, right? Now, what you have to understand in distribution, there's a lot of channel margin that you have to pass on to the different players as intermediates, right? You have to figure out which are your cash cows, which are your volume drivers, and which are your value drivers, right? And accordingly, you will have to give in to some margin concerns at some point of time to enable scale to unlock. If you do not do that, I believe you will keep getting pushback from the offline segment. So price parity needs to be maintained. If people are not doing it, the channel itself will force you to do it, right? It's all about whether the brand is ready to absorb that and figure out कि हाँ इससे growth unlock होगी, इससे growth impede नहीं होगी, right? And I think that's an important thing in the mind, as a mindset you need to figure out. And I think we did that. It took us about 2 years to do it, but then I think we figured it out and we are doing it.
If I may just quickly add, so I think this is something that increasingly as online grows, offline channels have this emotional response of saying here, some of the bigger guys are not being fair to us, and this has affected people as big as Unilevers and Samsungs of the world, right? And I think that is very, very important that you deal with that emotional response when a retailer or a distributor comes to say, "आप online तो ये कर रहे हो, but मुझे नहीं दे रहे." And that is a conversation that should be proactively thought out and explained to the people that are on the ground, right? The person who is doing the selling on the ground, your sales guy should be equipped to handle that emotional question. We'll say, yeah, you need to be fair to every channel that you are at the end of the day selling to. And that can be in the form of ki SKU mix alag hai, or as Siddharth said, perhaps some cost structures might be different in physical channel or online channel, but that is something that you really need to deal with. That is the reality. Everybody is going to ask you that.
I think with that, we would like to wind up the session, and thank you so much for helping our audience understand how they can re-examine their strategy in terms of omni-channel retail. Thank you. Thank you so much, our panelists.